Happy Friday, and thanks for tuning in to RadioFreeRhinecliff.org. And this show in particular, correct me if I'm Norm, I'm your host, Norm, and I'm thrilled to be here tonight with John and Allie Traver. Thanks, guys, for being here.
Hey, hey.
Wait, I got to turn up your mics, which is, what is it, mic number 2 and 5? Is that right?
You're going to do 3 and 4.
3 and 4. Well, they're all up now. We had a little technical difficulty, and now I'm sitting next to the engineering board. It's crazy.
Nice.
You guys
Crazy.
have bad luck.
Man of many hats.
Yeah. This is a hat I never wanted to be part of. Let me listen. Can you hear it, Jen?
I can.
All right, good. Thanks for being here, guys. What a treat. So much fun.
Yeah.
I've been trying for like 4 years to get John Traver to come in.
I know, Norm. Here I am. and I'm thrilled to be here with Allie, and I'm so happy about it.
Well, thank you, Allie,
Yeah.
for, I'm guessing, finally convincing him to be here.
I know, right? That final checkbox and brought him in.
It's so good. And you're here because, we were talking. It's Valentine's Day. Jen's like, we need a special Valentine's Day episode. And she said, what about them? I'm like, oh, my God, perfect. Because you seem like such a lovely couple. You've got 2 kids, and I always see you around town, and your lovely family. And so I'm here to ask you, what are the really ugly parts in your relationship?
Got it. Well, everything we say in this room stays in this room.
Absolutely. You've got my word on it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I want to ask you, you met in high school, right?
Yeah.
Kindergarten, actually.
Kindergarten. Do you have any recollection of the first time you laid eyes on each other?
So it's a funny story because I do not, but John definitely does, and I'll let him share it.
Thank you. So Allie and I both went through all the Rhinebeck schools, and we had the same kindergarten teacher, Mrs. Catella. She's now Patty Sinnott.
Mm-hmm.
And back then, kindergarten was half day. So parents who are like, there's no pre-K. Well, kindergarten's full day now. Back when we went, kindergarten was a half day. Did we go in the morning or afternoon? I don't remember that.
Morning.
But Allie was in my class, and she was an early tooth loser. And she had a bunch of missing teeth, and I thought that was really cool. And I truthfully thought she was the coolest. And I remember at one point my mom was planning a birthday party for me, and she was the only girl that I wanted to invite. And she's officially my first crush. But I don't want to embarrass her too much. But
Do it.
Then let's fast forward to 8th grade, and we went on we went on a date, or we went to see, what was the movie?
Well, we had one of those like half days when you leave the middle school and walk into town that
Right.
they still have. And we went to, at that point, it was Blondie's, which is now Pete's. We had a nice, I think, plate of French fries. John was into fruit plates at that time with cottage cheese.
Fruit
And I
plates.
corrupted him with cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
But from there, we went on our first date, and it was a Susan Sarandon, Natalie Portman movie, and dated for a couple of years thereafter.
Wow.
Remember the name?
Anywhere but here.
Anywhere but here.
And
Who
have
knew?
you seen it since then?
We haven't, I don't think. I thought it was funny to go to the movies with your friends and be like, 2 for anywhere but here. But yeah, we dated from 8th grade into our later high school years. And then we found other boyfriends and girlfriends and went off to college. I went to Union College. She went to Northeastern. And in my late in my junior year in college, I had recently broken up with a girlfriend, and was everybody was on Facebook at the time, right? And Facebook was still kind of new, and I knew that Allie was in Boston, but I didn't know where. And I found her on Facebook and sent her a message, and we went on a golf date, and as they say, the rest is history.
No way. Where'd you go on the golf date?
In Kingston, not Jetto's, Ascot Park, I think.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Ascot Park. I know that. It's not one of the fancy country club places.
No,
A little bit of a
but it got the job done.
little bit of a good
Yeah.
path.
Yeah.
And are you good golfers?
We honestly haven't done much since, but we've been talking about it. He has his, what you remember, Red Hook Golf Club for many years, and about maybe going back.
No, that's a nice course.
The peak of my athleticism was being captain of the Rhinebeck High School golf team. So
Sweet.
so at one point I shot 38 on 9 holes once,
Nice.
twice, but no holes in one, and I'm pretty sure that now it would be 72 on 9 holes.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too. What a treat. So in high school, like at some point, you went your separate ways. Do you remember why?
I think just maybe growing differences, like in that age, girls, boys. I think also maybe parents wanting us to explore other avenues to make sure that this was the one that we were going to go down. So honestly, we parted, I would say, not amicably. We didn't really like one another for quite a few years. Coincidentally, though, we both have a bad habit of being late. So we were brought together at one point in our senior year. We were voted typically tardy. So we had to have our picture taken together for the yearbook. So that will always be there.
It was a
I
nice
see that
awkward picture.
And were you glaring at each other the whole shoot?
Awkwardly holding some kind of a certificate for sure.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
A certificate for like a clock
for being
shop?
tardy.
For
Yeah.
being tardy. That's funny. So then you tracked her down on Facebook. You were in Boston. And then you came down here and had a date at the golf course. And then what? That was it. Just never parted ways again.
Well, I think we had dinner at first. We actually had dinner at Max's Memphis Barbecue, which is now Savona's.
Right.
And we're big Santa Fe Tivoli fans. Love Santa Fe. Similar, same owners ish. But then later on, we did the golf thing, and then we spent a lot of time together that summer. And then our senior year, we did a big back and forth thing. I drove to Boston all the time to see Allie, and she drove to Union to see me. And it's Schenectady to Boston is like 3 hours. But we were young and in love. And I remember I had a very good friend in college, John Carlo, and his girlfriend was in Boston. And one night at like 11 p.m. or midnight, I'm like, I'm going to Boston tonight. Want to come with me? And he's like, no, it's late. I'm like, okay, fine. But we did it all the time, and it was fun. It was exciting. It was fresh. Yeah.
And so you went to Union. You went to Northeastern. And what were you all studying?
My major was in history.
Any particular part of history that you were fascinated with?
General history. I had wanted to go on for my master's in archiving. So did some, I guess, things in that kind of a realm, but wound up realizing it wasn't really what I wanted to continue on with, but wound up getting my degree in history overall.
No, never even heard of masters in archiving. What kinds of stuff does a masters in archiving do?
Sure. So like if, for example, if the FDR library, they'll have archivists that take care of whatever kind of historical documents they might have. I went there and did a little bit of volunteer work where I'd listen to Eleanor's recordings, radio recordings from I guess the 30s, 40s at that point, and then put them into written words so that they could then be documented and researched or looked up for research thereafter.
Well, you transcribed Eleanor's recorded speeches?
As a volunteer.
What a blast. What a remarkable person she is or was.
Absolutely.
What a blast. And what did you want to study at Union? And that's where?
Union College is in Schenectady.
Okay.
It's a rusty lump of reality, but very charming, northwest of Albany. There's a GE plant there, or there was a big GE presence there, and when that shut down, a lot of folks vacated the city. But it's filled with old, beautiful homes, but not enough people. But we actually visited it recently with our kids. But Union's in Schenectady, and I studied economics and English.
Okay. Yeah. And what did you think you were going to do afterwards?
That's a great question. I thought I wanted to be actually I did economics and English. I did flirt with the idea of being an English teacher. I went to a public school in Schenectady, and after about one day I was like, nah, I can't do this. And then
why not?
It just wasn't. Sometimes, you really think you want to try something, you really think you're going to like it, and sometimes you just take that first bite and you're like, no, I was terribly mistaken, and just not into it. And then actually, I interned at a bank in Schenectady for a while, and it was so boring. I was in the basement and just doing like all these call reports and things. But in any case, I thought I wanted to be a financial advisor, and I graduated from Union in 2008. And that was right around the time of the financial crisis. And I realized pretty quickly that nobody was going to trust a 22-year-old fresh out of college with their money after the stock market crashed. So I continued to work at Samuel's and Ira.
You had already started working at Samuel's by then?
Yeah, I worked there from the age of 15 when I was a sophomore in high school. That's when I started working there. Yeah.
Okay. And how did that come about?
Uh, well, I remember I have a lot of memories about, Samuel's, of course, but one day we went in there and Ira, who was the founder, knew my name and my sister's name, and he just, said, "Hey, you want to work here?" And I said, "Sounds like fun," and went home and talked to my mom about it, and I started up that summer, June of '01.
And your sister, did she ever work there?
No. But we used to. She's a few years older than me, so we would run around the village of Rhinebeck and, getting pizza and candy and stuff without supervision.
Right.
Yeah.
And did your folks live in the village?
No, we live. Their house is on Pell's Road. It's like 3 miles
Okay.
out. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
They still live there.
So they'd drop you off and you just
Yeah, or
run around.
yeah, totally.
Or after school. So you started working there the next summer, and what were you doing?
I was doing what you'd see the young folks doing in their after school now. Making coffee and filling the chocolate case and stocking the shelves and greeting customers. And my first job was cleaning an orthodontist's office when I was like 14 or something. And then I worked at my stepdad's barn sale in Red Hook, Hoffman's Barn Sale, great spot.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a really special place. It's one of a kind. And then I started working at Samuel's, and Samuel's had air conditioning and plumbing and heating and all the amenities of life and candy and coffee. And, I did both for a while, but at one point I told my parents, I'd like to just do this. Sorry, hope you understand, because it's really fun. And it was fun, and it's still fun. The human element, of course, being the most fun, but it's the sweet things that bring people in.
Right, absolutely. What do you think is the number one draw to bring people into Samuel's?
I think just feeling good, really,
Yeah.
because you can get coffee and candy and baked goods and all these things anywhere, but when you walk in there, we think a lot about the way it looks and the way it sounds, the music, the people we hire, and I think that it's the feeling people get when they walk out of there. Hopefully, that's what I would like to think. Yeah.
Right. You said we a couple of times. Who's we in this equation?
We at Samuel's?
Yeah.
Well, I use the second person a lot, I think, at Samuel's, 'cause I'm talking about myself, I'm talking about my staff, I'm talking about the other owners. I don't like to, own it on my own, so I'll use that second person a lot. But the staff and I try to instill in the staff a sense of community. And one of the biggest pieces of advice that I give people or ask of people when I hire them is to always acknowledge people when they walk in the door, to always greet them, always make sure they're seen, because it is such a small space, and I think that that's important in life. And I've mentioned at store meetings, I used to intern in a basement at a bank, and it was miserable, right? And the highlight of some people's day is going out to get a cup of coffee.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Was there ever an opportunity for Samuel's to expand its footprint?
There in the past, there was. I think that was back in the IRA days, and I think that probably would have been a mistake at the time. And I'm glad that Samuel's is small and where it is. And I think that hole in the wall location there is just perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what do you think would be lost if it was twice the size?
Well, an energy, a certain energy.
Right.
It's really,
sure.
when you walk in that store, it's funny. It's the store today is kind of the inverse of what it was a decade or so ago, where we weren't quite as busy. But now, when I go in there and it's empty, I'm like, oh my goodness, there's no customers in here, right? But once you get 3, 5, 7 customers in that store, there's an energy, because it is tight, it is small, and you're kind of forced to say hi to people and excuse me, and oh, are you ready to order? And it creates an intimacy, I think.
Yeah.
And I've been in. When we vacation or go to other towns, I always, of course, want to check out other candy stores, and it is food, it is perishable. So a lot of times these gigantic candy stores carry everything in the catalog, and a lot of it's like stale or not great, or it's getting dusty, and we try to turn over the heavy hitters quickly in there.
What do you mean heavy hitters?
Well, things that move, things that sell fast. And
Right. And what are the things that, does hard candy go bad?
No, it gets dusty though. In COVID, we removed all the lids from the jars because it would be one, fewer things for people to touch, right?
Right.
And we've kept the lids off, actually, because I was always kind of this awkward scenario where a customer would come in and be like, oh, hey, I want to buy these. Oh, where do I put this? And then,
Right.
yeah.
Huh. So then how do you dust? Do you have like a feather duster or like a lawn blower?
Nice Swiffer wand, right?
Come by Samuel's any day. And
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
you'll
Yeah.
find me with Swiffers in my back pockets.
Right.
I'm like Bugs Bunny down there.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Allie, did you ever work there?
No, I did not.
Dodged the
My
bullet.
first jobs were at the Rhinebeck department store, working for Dick and Barbara.
Right.
And I worked at the CVS when it had first opened. At that point, in the film department, I developed people's film when they brought it in.
Oh, how sweet.
Yeah.
Love that. So you guys were like next door to each other for a long spell. And then you, at some point, you graduated, you got a degree, and you went to work where?
So when I graduated, I knew we wanted to move home. John had already graduated and had an apartment in the village, right next to Burnett and White Funeral Home. So I wanted to move back after I graduated, which was 6 months later. Northeastern did a co-op program. So there was an additional 6 months where I worked at the Massachusetts State House, which delayed my coming home to my sweetheart. So when I did come back to Rhinebeck, I needed a job and was really just looking for anything. So Craigslist was at the time a popular place where you went to look for jobs, and went and worked for Frank Guido. I was his administrative assistant for about 6 months. Little Italy and Mariners Harbor and Port of Call up in Catskill.
Right.
And then at that point, I knew I wanted a change. So I wound up, again, going back to good old Craigslist and finding my next job. And that's actually the last time I've applied for a job. But I wound up finding a logistics position for truck brokerage in Kingston, working for a couple. They had a home office at that point, and I worked for them for many years.
What does that even mean, a logistics position?
Sure. So I had to Google it at that point as well. A history
Yeah.
major wasn't really focused on logistics, but ultimately just taking a look at the transportation of goods. We had customers that had freight to move, either on flatbeds, vans, out of gauge freight, reefer freight, if it needed to be refrigerated. So I did the truck brokerage. So we didn't ourselves have trucks. We looked for trucks to move freight that we had customers who had that freight. We'd find good prices and then broker it out. So that was what I did for many years.
Wow. And do you still do something like that?
I do. So the company I worked for was called UTI. So imagine answering the phone with that every day.
Yeah, I was just thinking that's an unfortunate name.
Oh.
UTI.
So our company was acquired by another. It's a company called DSV. It's a Danish freight forwarding company. And they wound up making our office into a corporate office. And I've worked for them since. So I worked in the operations team for quite a few years. And for now, and then moved my way into, I guess, oversight, operational excellence. So overseeing efficiencies, things of that nature.
Right.
And now I'm director of centralized business operations for the Americas. So for Canada down through Brazil.
Oh, that's great. It's a huge title. It sounds super important.
Yes, from
And-
a Craigslist ad.
And how has that changed with the advent of computerization and now with AI?
It's really interesting, actually, and something that in the freight market over the past 2 years, we've had a really big, I guess, rise in fraud and scams, theft, things of that nature. So people posing to be legitimate truckers, either stealing people's identities through AI means, and then you never see the freight again. So that's something I've been working a lot on, how we can raise visibility and really work on making that a better situation for us and our customers.
I think I just read an article about that somewhere, or saw like a special in 60 Minutes or something on that very kind of fraud.
Yes, very likely. Over the past 2 years, it's dramatically increased for our company as well as for others. So it's really important to double check and make sure who you're working with, that you are using a legitimate company, that it's who's calling you is actually who's calling you. A lot of spoof type situations where you'll think you're dealing with Bob in Oklahoma, and it's definitely not Bob, and he is certainly not in Oklahoma. So it's things of that type of nature.
And do you, of the people you deal with, what percentage of them do you know their voices, recognize their voices, and what percentage have you like actually met?
You know, I've only met a few of the truckers that I worked with. They would come to our office to meet them, and I would know them by voice. So I think building your, like anything, your Rolodex of individuals you work with in an industry, whether it be candy or trucking, and then knowing that they are able to do whatever you need is really important, especially in the truck industry.
Right. And what's the best part of your job?
Lately, traveling. Last month, I was able to go to our office in Denmark and Copenhagen, so it was wonderful to
Wow.
visit. I'll tell you, it is nicer in the summer than the winter.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Um,
So you went there to Copenhagen for like a big corporate meeting?
Yes, so just a global summit on centralized business operations, and gave me the opportunity as well. My mom actually came with me, so it was her first time out of the States.
That's
so
fun.
she was able to see Denmark, and apparently it's the yarn capital, or the yarn store capital of the world. So she's an avid knitter, so she very much enjoyed her time there.
I love that. The yarn store capital of the world. So she must love it when sheep and wool comes to town.
Yes, she was one of the vendors there for many years in the horticulture building. She weaves baskets, she still does, and she would dye yarn, and she still knits. She gave us about 10 hats for our boys last night, which was very appreciated.
So sweet. Boys, you got kids?
2 of them.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you come here, you just like lock them in a little room in the basement or something?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. When Allie travels too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you have family all over the area, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
They are with my mom presently.
Sweet.
Yes.
Is she listening?
I don't know. If she is not now, she definitely will later. I know she's got both boys right now.
And how old are they?
I was gonna say, Pat, just call my cell phone if you're listening. So Charlie's 6 and Dave is 2.5.
Wow. Sweet.
Yeah.
So they're low energy.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Our house is not getting destroyed at all.
No, never.
Yeah. They're
And-
such angels.
And your mom's tough? Are they tough babysitters? Or are they softies? I think, grandparents, either gender, can go either way. They're like going to make up for your defiance by like putting the stick down on the kids. Are they softies or tough? Yeah. You're like, you don't have to answer. You can take the
I
test.
think that they treat them very well. There's a lot of ice cream and
look at that.
candy, and trips to fast food restaurants, and I think the boys are very happy when they're with the grandmas.
And
Yeah.
what fast food restaurants do they like?
Oh my goodness, Norm! What fast food restaurants don't little boys like, right?
I know. I'm just curious. What are the favorites?
Well, I mean-
Little boys this era.
Definitely. Dave calls it Donald's because we can't quite get McDonald's out.
Sure.
But yes, McDonald's would be a favorite.
They love Taco Bell,
Yeah.
which is just cracks me up.
I love Taco Bell.
All of them. There's nothing wrong with any of them.
Right.
Yeah.
And what kind of candy do they like?
They like jelly beans. What else do they like?
I mean, they're kids. They like everything. What cracks me up is I have no off switch, but with them, like they have a few bites and they're kind of good. Which is actually Charlie is Dave.
Yeah.
Dave has my no off switch problem. He and I both might be on GLP-1s one day or something.
Jeez.
But in any case,
So you'll just sit there and watch a movie, eat a whole bag of bacon
there's no
eggs.
stopping me. I used to work at home working late at home a lot, and in our kitchen, which is a huge mistake. And then you're just snacking on guacamole and peanut butter and candies, and
Right.
everyone's different, of course. But I don't have the ability to kind of stop once I dive into the candy or the sweets.
And
But the
what's-
kids. But go ahead.
I was just saying, what's your favorite candy?
My favorite candy is probably licorice, black licorice. I love black licorice. But something kind of I thought it was cute recently is sometimes Allie's mom Pat's nearby. My parents are very close by. They actually live next door to us. Dave goes to daycare. Charlie's in school. But sometimes things happen. Kids are like kind of sick. Not really sick, but sick enough where you can't send them, right? And
Right.
life goes on. So there have been occasions where I have to hold these guys up with me upstairs in my office at Samuel's, and cute things happen where they discover where we keep the Samuel's bars, or they discover where
geez.
this is or that is, and it's funny, and we have a good time.
What's a Samuel's bar?
A Samuel's bar is a solid milk chocolate candy bar with a not quite, but Wonka-esque font on it that says Samuel's.
Okay.
It's still wrapped in foil because everyone knows that chocolate tastes better when it's wrapped in foil.
I didn't know that.
Oh my
does.
God.
Really?
Totally. Yes. You can't get a
Our
Hershey.
popular opinion.
Last night we just started watching that JFK Jr. show on Disney, just like 15 minutes, and there's a Kit Kat in it. And right away I'm like, foil. chocolate in foil always tastes better.
Do you understand why?
I should. I don't. But it's probably, to me, if they're trying to save on expense on the packaging, they're probably definitely trying to save on expense on the chocolate. But these bars of ours are wrapped in gold foil and blue Samuel's paper, and every few of them has a golden ticket. And if you get a golden ticket, you win a 3-month membership to our candy club, where you get that month's featured sampler sent to your home. And this kind of cute thing happened the other day that I'm guessing is going to probably show up on our social media at some point. I remember getting an email about a year ago, and this woman said, "Hey, we just celebrated my son's birthday party in New York City, and you wouldn't believe it. He got a golden ticket." And I thought, "You're kidding, So we'll send you the St. Patrick's Day sampler and the Easter sampler and the Mother's Day sampler, and congratulations." And then just this week, they came into the shop, and they were talking to these two wonderful Hannahs who opened the shop half of the days of the week. And I overheard their conversation, and I couldn't help but butt in. And they shared with me, a year or so ago, we came up here. We always go to Samuel's. We bought 14 Samuel's bars. We passed them around to all the kids at the party table. And our son unwrapped the chocolate bar, and he won the golden ticket. And we were thrilled, but we also felt a little bit like,
right,
was this rigged? But it was a fun story.
I love that. Yeah, Samuel's, it's really sort of an iconic part of Rhinebeck. The other one was Stickles, which sadly closed down.
Yeah.
It's you must have some sense that you were sort of operating a historical place.
I like to feel that way. Yeah, of
Right.
course.
You mentioned these women said, "Oh, when we come to town, we always go to Samuel's," and there's probably just so many people from all over the area and even further afield who were like, "Oh, when you go to Rhinebeck, make sure you go to Samuel's."
Yeah. Thank you, Norm. You can say that as much as you'd like to. I don't want to be, braggadocious about it, but I certainly love Samuel's, and I do think that it is a part of a lot of people's routines and rituals when they come to Rhinebeck because of that whole feel-good, nature behind it. Like whenever we go to Maine, we get lots of ice cream, right? So whenever people come to Rhinebeck, they load up on candy at Samuel's.
Right.
Yeah.
But you're running a business. You're also sort of the steward of this historical place. Do you feel that? You feel that you're not just like, crossing the T's and dotting the I's and doing the business.
Do.
You're also...
I do. A lot of it, hasn't changed in a long time, and that makes me feel good, and I'm proud of that, and I'm not afraid of change or improvement. We have a lot more technology than we used to, but what's cool to me is it is kind of a time warp in there where I'll see customers that I haven't seen in 2, 5, 10, 15 years.
Right.
And honestly, I'll say, "Oh my goodness, Michael, how long has it been?" And he could say 2, 5, 10, or 15 years.
Right.
Because people, it is a place that people do come back to and visit. But I'm there every day, so the sense of time is can be a little scrambled. Yeah.
Right. What's the oldest old-timey candy that you have in that shop?
You Mary Jane still?
We still have Mary Jane's. Mary Jane's were discontinued, but they came back.
Nice.
Mary Jane has
Is
a
that
red.
like a peanut butter kind of?
It's a delicious candy. It's peanut butter molasses. It's a very chewy candy. It has a red stripe on it because they used to sell them in 2s, and a red piece of tape would hold 2 of them together. Necco wafers, of course. They were also discontinued and came back.
Huh.
Nostalgic gums like clove, tea berry, blackjack. The nostalgic stuff gets a lot of
Beeman's?
Beeman's, yep. Oh, I forgot Beeman's, yeah.
Love Beeman's.
C. Howard violets.
C. Howard. Now, I grew up thinking it was Choward because I think they had a character like Chet Choward.
You could be right about that. I haven't
Or
asked.
Chet C.
I haven't
Howard.
asked Google.
Ask Google.
I've been saying C. Howard for a long time. I think the way it's written, it looks like C. Howard.
Are there any candies there that you've never tried? Allie, this is for you too.
I think he's tried everything for sure. I don't know if I have, but I also don't know necessarily. I don't know.
My sugar's never been below 100 at the doctor, so no.
I don't know what that means. What's an ideal number for your sugar level?
I don't know. At my age, it's always over 100, and they tell me to get it below that. But I try everything. I have the luxury of being upstairs in the kitchen where they package the candy, and of course there's always a box or a vat or a big container of, today it was sour gummy lobsters from Turkey, and I had to try one.
That sounds amazing. I have to try one of those. A sour gummy lobster
Yes.
from Turkey. And so you have candy from all over the world.
Yeah. The international stuff's doing really well for us. Actually, we just started carrying this licorice that Allie found in Denmark. This customer, Jonathan, was Jonathan, I hope you're listening. He had been asking me to carry it for years, and licorice historically is not a big mover. And then Allie and her mom had me try some. It was gifted to her mom. Allie went to Denmark. It's everywhere in Denmark. But it's this item called Lakrids by Bulow. And it's just the most phenomenal black licorice in like chocolate or in a candy shell. And it blows my mind every time. It's fantastic. I'm a licorice guy.
Wow. And had you been a licorice guy prior to this? Licorice from Denmark?
I mean, do you like what are the Good and Plenty's?
They're okay.
Yeah, they're
That's
good.
like gateway licorice. Yeah. That's what people start on.
Yeah, Good and Plenty. Can you sing the Good and Plenty advertising jingle? You're too young.
No, I don't.
You don't
know
remember
that
it.
one.
Let's sing it.
Oh, geez. It's about Choo Choo Charlie. Once upon a time, there was an engineer. Choo Choo Charlie was his name. We hear.
Wow.
Yeah, and he had. He didn't know about the engine, but he used Good and Plenty candies to make his train run. Charlie says, "Love my Good and Plenty." Charlie says, "Really rings my bell." Yeah,
Wow.
everybody of a certain era. And the era is from me to all the way down to youngster Jen Hammoud here, knows that because they played it. That commercial was on every day a dozen times, and it's just sort of like, yeah, you should. I'll track it down and send it to you.
I would like that.
There's
yeah.
probably a whole slew of really cool and kitschy old candy and chocolate songs.
Do you know the Bonomo Turkish Taffy song?
No.
Oh,
Now you
well.
have to sing
Never
it.
even heard- yeah, now you
Don't
I
know
sang.
well.
I sang.
It's like
You can sing.
Bonomo, Bonomo Turkish Taffy, something like that. Yeah.
Never even heard of Bonomo Turkish Taffy. Well,
Who knew?
I'm going in. And so you mentioned, other holiday samplers. You have a special Valentine's Day sampler?
Oh, heavens. For Valentine's Day, we have lots of things. We have the Valentine's Day Survival Kit,
Oh,
which
boy.
is a heart-shaped box of chocolates, sea salt caramels, and chocolate-covered dried cherries.
Yum.
We have a Cupid's Deluxe Candy Feast, which is like double or triple that much candy with a homemade Valentine's Day Oreo bar. People love Oreos and chocolate. We have locally grown anemones from Battenfels. And
What do they taste like?
delicious, Norm.
Okay.
Really cleanses the palate.
Yeah.
And we have chocolate dipped strawberries, which
Yum.
folks love this time of the year.
Yeah, got to get some of those. How late do you open tonight?
9,
What time do you open tomorrow?
7:30.
Oh, good. So are these typical hours or are these Valentine's weekend hours?
They're not special. If Valentine's Day fell during the week, we probably extend the hours. These are our winter hours, so
Okay.
we close at 7 during the week and 9 on the weekends.
Do you staff up for big holidays like this?
Yeah, totally.
And has it always been easy enough to find people, or is it sometimes difficult? Or is it
People-
always difficult
I
but sometimes
think
easy?
I think that people are the best part of doing something like this, but it's also the trickiest part because it's a very small space,
Right.
and I care deeply about ambiance and how it feels, and given how small it is, I think the more significant the impact of a human being has on people's
Absolutely.
experience and on the space. So you have to meet people to see if they can have a conversation.
Right.
To see if they have the energy that you're looking for. So hiring can be daunting. If you need to fill, several people's positions, it can take months. Sometimes it shouldn't, but it can.
Right.
Yeah.
And do you mostly hire kids from Rhinebeck and Rhinebeck High School?
So I couldn't help but laugh when he said that. Ira used to always say to me, "Don't call them kids, John,
How
because
come?
what can you expect from a kid?
All kind-
They're workers. They're employees. Like they're people. They're young adults. don't call them kids, right?
Interesting.
So
So you don't.
I don't actually. I never call them kids.
So what was
Yeah.
Ira like as a boss?
And
He was-
just to we hire adults too. We have people who work there who are in college graduates, people in their 30s.
Red Hook,
You
Hyde
know,
Park.
people who are older than me. Red Hook, Hyde Park.
Like
Yeah.
yeah.
You have various school districts. It's not just the kiddos. I'm sorry. What was your question? What was it like working?
Yeah, what was it like working for Ira? He was such a character, and and people, I dare say, like everybody in Rhinebeck had an opinion about Ira.
Yeah. The last thing that Ira ever said to me, we were designing a website at the time, and it was kind of Ira focused, I felt. And I felt comfortable enough to tell him that. I'm like, it seems a little focused on you. I think it should be a little more on the candy. And I kind of told him, maybe not everyone. I love you. I like you, right? But maybe some people have a different opinion about you, and it should be more about Samuel's, right? And he literally said to me, the last thing he ever said was, other people's opinions of me are none of my business. I don't care what they think.
Right.
In his Ira like loving way, and we shook hands and we walked out, and he walked out the door, turned right, and that was the last time I saw him.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of sad, but a good final message.
Yeah, that was something that he said kind of often, and it resonates. It resonated with me more later on that he was kind of he was a character for sure, but he was very comfortable with himself and very authentic.
Right.
And I think there's something to be said for that. And Allie actually knew Ira quite well herself. He was at our wedding. She would go to knitting with him, and
Go to what?
she had a relationship with Ira too.
He would go to knitting, so
Oh, right. Nice.
he wanted to learn to knit. So my mom brought him into our knitting group at the the Good Shepherd Church, and a bunch of women taught Ira how to knit, and he was very good at stranded knitting. So Fair Isle knitting, where you have multiple pieces of yarn that you put together to make these beautiful, intricate patterns. So we have some of his work still at our house, but he had a very he had a habit of making teeny weeny beanies, so very small hats, so that don't necessarily cover your ears. So they're unique in terms of their fit, but they might be better for our sons at this point, I think.
That's so sweet. And do you have many of his pieces, sort of like on the the mantle of honor? Or?
Not in the mantle, in our scarves and hat collection. So
Right.
we do go through them and all, but we don't wear them too often, just to keep them pristine.
Right. That's so sweet. So here's a question for John. Which parts of Ira's management style live on through you?
Oh, that's a great question, Norm. Just checking in with people,
Right.
treating them like people, not like numbers. Handshaking was huge for me. But then COVID kind of messed that up a little bit.
Right.
We would always shake hands every day after a shift, or every day when we left each other. And I really liked that kind of leveling at the end of the day where, maybe you had a rough day, but we still respect each other. Just remembering to slow down.
Right.
Yeah.
And do you and Allie do those kinds of things? I mean, you get these two kids, two boys. You must have rough days often. Do you have things that sort of like get you back on track after sort of a dysregulated day in terms of your relationship? This is a Valentine's Day show, after all.
Yes.
I think we've been together so long. We dated so long in middle school, and we've been married at this point 16 years this year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think our rougher points were earlier in the younger relationships, especially as married. But
Right.
I think right now we're pretty cohesive in terms of our parenting and marital style. And if you feel differently, please say so.
Yeah. Right now, this is the show that gets to the bottom of all that.
People who know me well would laugh at the idea that I'm probably the bad cop, right?
That was my next question.
Like, kind of.
A little bit, yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
It sounds like maybe both of you are bad cops for the kids.
No, I think.
I think I'm more of a, sure, you can do this. Like this morning, Charlie, our oldest one, I knew you wouldn't like this, but He wanted to download Bowser's Fury. It's a Super Mario game on his
Bowser's Fury.
his Nintendo.
And of course, I'm thinking about Sha-Na-Na. Anybody my age? Bowser.
Yeah.
So we're trying to teach him about money and how this game cost $50, and do you have $50 to pay for this game? We're not just going to buy it. So we give him an allowance for doing work around the house, and he tends to, he's pretty good about his money in terms of holding on to it for things he wants, but he was still short. So we remembered he had coin banks that he's been putting coins in since he was little. So we opened them up, broke them out, went through, we counted, we went through and showed him this is a wheat penny, which is a rarity now these days with pennies and such. But to
Right.
give him an idea of this money will now be gone and you will spend it. But he hadn't wrapped it yet. So this morning I decided that he asked for it. He's been good. It's Friday. We'll order it and then we'll do the money thereafter. I knew John's opinion on this was going to differ, that he was going to want the money before the service. But I went ahead with it. So I think that's probably indicative of our parenting style.
So-
I'm a little looser maybe than you would be.
Did John insist that you charge him interest?
Yes.
That's
Plus
good.
penalties.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you can both get your way.
Yeah.
He can buy it on time with credit. He got good credit, I'll bet.
Charlie?
Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
Pristine.
Yeah.
That's good. And so do you all, it doesn't sound like you have any strife around those kinds of things.
No,
No.
I think we're
I think external forces can be more like stressful on a marriage, on a family, in terms of things that are beyond your control. And there's so much always coming at you from every angle that I think we've got to a really good place where we're aligned on where we need to be to make sure our boat is going the way it should. And then
Right.
just, as those things come up, deal with them as they do.
Right.
But,
What?
well, to be clear, it's no cakewalk at our house. Bedtime, bedtime is real.
Yeah.
And it happens every night.
Oof.
But I agree with Allie. We're pretty aligned.
And
I think
morning
we work well
too.
together.
When we get those plunks up for school.
I think we
Night's
trend later.
harder.
We trend later than a lot of people. So like, it's getting them to bed. It's not so much getting them up and out of the house.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you think the benefits, if any, to your marriage come from having known each other for 25 years?
When we first started dating again, the big thing that registered for me, because we had grown up together, our senses of humor were very similar. And I really had missed that sense of humor and how it had impacted mine as well growing up. So for me, that was always something that I really enjoyed about you. And I think that knowing you as long as I have, that I continue to enjoy now.
How would you describe his sense of humor?
I don't know. I feel people
Yeah.
find humor in the odd moments, perhaps, and we
Yeah.
both do in that case, maybe.
How would you describe Allie's sense of humor?
Allie has a very good. Allie likes to razz me a little bit. I was kind of concerned I was going to come on here and get roasted, but it's been good so far. I think we both are kind of into the observational humor and just noticing things out there in the real world.
Right.
But that evolves over time. Just the other night, we were in Kingston and Charlie was in the car, and we drove by a car wash, and he was like, "Yo, bro, free vacuums? We can get a free vacuum." I'm like, "No." It's great when they can read, right? It's like, "No, that's if you get your car washed, you can vacuum your car for free." But I had no idea you wanted to vacuum so badly. This is great news.
Yeah.
But I think that we tend to laugh at the same things. And
That's so sweet.
Allie probably likes to prank me a little more than I like to prank her.
Well, it's interesting you say that because we're running a little bit late, but it's 5:44, which is the time that the roast begins.
Oh,
What's,
perfect.
what's
Oh,
your
no.
What's your first roast item of John Traver, Allie? Put you on the spot here.
No.
I didn't come prepared for that, I guess. I don't know if I have any roast items for you.
Thank you, Allison. That's
was
that's
ready
your
up, right?
Valentine's Day gift for me. Thank
But
you.
I love the idea of you teasing each other. I think that's, they talk about love languages like touch and, gifts and kind words and all that shit. I think teasing is definitely a love language.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
When you have someone in the house who wants something in a certain spot or a certain way, and the other person thinks it's fun to move it or
And
to rearrange
Driving.
that room again,
Right.
that sort of thing.
when, in
Or
your
driving, yeah.
Driving.
And if that
Yeah.
person had a name, what might that name be?
Rhymes with schmally.
Yeah.
I will say on the record, I did take my road test 4 times, but I've never been in an accident.
Just we
Knock
don't
on
know
wood.
what's been left in his wake, though.
What did you fail repeatedly?
I think
Or was it a different thing every time out?
I was too nervy, and the guy picked up on that, so he failed me. And then the next time, I went to a different town, and I got the same darn guy, who made me incredibly nervous.
Did he
And-
did he remember you?
Probably. I mean, I didn't. Hey, remember me? I failed last time.
You're the guy from
Yeah.
Millbrook.
So sorry. So, but my parents and people were like, just seem confident. You'll pass the test. So I'm waiting to pull out, and I took it first in Catskill, then in Hudson, and I'm waiting to pull out. And the cars kept coming. And I'm thinking, like, I gotta be confident. Then when I finally pull out, I pulled out in front of a cop. Not that that's an issue, but the guy's like, "Did you see that cop there?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I don't know. Then I was just a wreck the rest of the test, and I might have stopped over the stop line, or oddly enough, another time I took it, I went to Parallel Park, and a police officer tailed me, so I couldn't park, and that rattled me. I think I just got a little rattled for whatever reason. So Allie carries on that tradition of rattling me while I'm driving, just to keep me sharp.
And so now are the kids taking it up, busting your chops every chance they get?
Charlie told John yesterday he was a bad driver.
Well, yeah, he did.
He did.
And if the kids are really bad, do you have timeouts, or how do you deal with that?
Yeah, I would say timeouts for both at this point. Dave will go in his room, and he'll cry it out very quickly and come out and say sorry and sulk a bit. Charlie's a bit more of our needs more time, and I think he thinks he's right about everything always. So
Right.
that 6-year-old thing.
Who does he get that? Which parent does he get that from? I'm just trying. I'm
Me,
just
I
trying,
guess, yeah.
mad to create a big fight here. for
Yeah,
Valentine's
right.
Day.
He's
Here's
very
a que-
passionate.
That's sweet. Here's a question. So you started dating in high school.
Uh-huh.
Do you know other married couples now who started dating at Rhinebeck High School way back then?
They didn't start dating way back then, but my maid of honor at our wedding, Allison Sassone now, and Dominic Sassone, Allison Stursel at that point. We grew up together, the two Allies, kindergarten through, and but she married Dominic Sassone, who was in your sister's grade.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. But they are still married. They actually got married the day after we did. So we were married on 10/10/10 to ensure I could remember the dates because I'm not so bueno at that. But Allie and Dom were married on the 11th of October a few years later. So always remember their anniversary.
That's sweet. And do you have a lot of friends who you went to high school with to this day?
I still do. I think you do as well. They're all a bit scattered hither and yon at this point. So we reconnect, I would say, a bit less frequently, but still, it's still great to see them. And I would say they're still friends. Same to you.
Yeah, we went to one of their weddings last summer at the Red Hook Golf Club.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice. So when you went to your colleges in Schenectady and Boston, was there ever a thought of not coming back to Rhinebeck?
I know he didn't. You wanted to go to the city after
Yeah,
school.
oddly enough, because I knew I wouldn't have to drive. Just kidding.
Smart.
Yeah.
A good boy.
You definitely have those bumper guards on your
Yeah.
car if you did.
And are you a bad driver? I love that your kid said that to you.
No, it's just kind of the most obvious example of how we like to see each other and such. I don't think I'm a bad driver, but I guess that's out. That's up to one's interpretation.
And
Yeah.
I had the experience, because I had 3 kids, of seeing some of my behaviors, mirrored to me in the kids. And they were almost always like the cringy, like, oh, fuck, how did you pick that up? What things are there, if any, that make you think like, oh, crap, I can't believe my kid's picking up that bad trait?
Can you think of any?
No, some of the kids have picked up swear words, I would say, that I think they have not heard from their father, but more so from me. So maybe that, but we've nipped that in.
Because you're in the trucking business.
Exactly. You've got to have the mouth behind it.
And did you sort of develop more colorful language after years in the trucking business?
Maybe a little bit, maybe a slower or a shorter fuse in which to use them in.
Shorter fuse. Have you ever tried driving a big rig?
No, I've not. I've been in because it was important to understand when I asked drivers to do things, what they were working with, what that looked like for tarping or securing or whatever it might be. But no, I've not
Right.
driven a truck. But my grandfather did, actually. I did not have the pleasure to have met him, but Donald Kuhn, my dad's father, was a truck driver at one point and did long haul type shipments.
Cool.
So
Now,
I'll circle that one.
I think when I first started coming up to Rhinebeck, there was a coon florist.
Yes, there was E.A. Kuhn, which
Yeah.
was somehow related to us on one level or another. The Kuhns, as well as the Travers, have long storied roots, I suppose, in the Rhinebeck, Rhinecliff area. But my grandmother, Harriet, she was the postmistress of Rhinecliff. For many years, she lived in Rhinecliff. And
Love that.
Yeah.
And how many generations back do your families go? I mean, I know there's a Traver Road, and there's probably a Coon Street.
I don't know if there's that, but my dad did our genealogies, and they went back to the 1600s.
Yeah, our boys are sixth generation Rhinebeck Travers.
Right.
My dad was the town supervisor in the 80s, maybe the 70s, but the 80s. And then my great-great-grandfather, John A. Traver, was also the town supervisor.
Wow.
And he was actually killed in a horse and buggy accident in front of the Beekman Arms.
Oh, no.
So I know that I'm a fifth generation Rhinebeck Traver, so they're sixth generation Rhinebeck Travers. There's a lot of them in the cemeteries, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And so at what point, if ever, did it dawn on you, like, oh, wow, our families are special with regards to Rhinebeck? Our families have been here a lot longer than other families.
I don't know if it ever really dawned on me, but I do know that Allie helped. I think that I appreciate my family, our family, and our parents a lot more now than I ever have. And I think that at a younger age, Allie did a lot of things with her parents, and I didn't do quite as much with my parents. And I think that she helped instill in me a love of family and parents.
It's so
Yeah.
sweet. And you mentioned your dad, Allie, did all the genealogy.
Mm-hmm.
He was on the Friends of Rhinebeck Cemetery, did that as well. Do you all think about doing those things that your folks were doing?
You know, I was on, yes, and I would say
Because you're not busy enough with these two little boys.
So yeah, I think we're both on certain levels still involved in things, scaled back a bit. I'm still a member of the Rhinebeck American Legion Auxiliary and was treasurer for many years. Member of the DAR, the Daughters of the American Revolution, as well, and try to, where we can, participate and give back that way. But I know too, we're not planning to go anywhere, so we still have lots of opportunities as the boys get older to give back more and volunteer in that way.
Right. Where in the world would you ever go? I mean, do you feel that sort of like George Bailey had to stay in his town, that you kind of have to stay? Do you feel like golden handcuffs to this place?
I don't think so. But I will say, I think it's a great place to raise your kids. I don't
Right.
think that there's really a lot of other places that are like this, and that our kids can go to the same school we did, to go into a one-stop like community with a candy store and, you know, all these things that they can really enjoy. That being said, I'd love to at some point maybe move away, like try something new, go somewhere different. But when we retire and it's time, and you know, when that's right. But for now, we're definitely staying put.
Right. And you're traveling with your business. Judd, you get to travel at all with your business? Candy conventions? And
Yeah, I've gone to candy shows at the Javits Center, and I certainly like to step into every candy store that I stumble upon. And when Allie travels, I take care of the boys at home, and
right.
we make it work.
But it must be tough. I mean, you had sort of a number two. He just left a month or two ago, right?
Yeah, Jack Corderero, such a great guy. He worked there from I think 17 up until early January this year, and he was someone who came to us straight after he got out of Millbrook Prep School, and he really thrived in the role, and he loved the customers, and he was a master of vibe, and a master of the experience, and a master of making people feel good. And there's still actually a list in the back room in his handwriting of people's names and tricks that he would use to remember their name. And this is something that he he learned from me, but we try to learn people's names and
Right.
have conversations and like I said earlier, people keep coming back because it makes them feel good. It's not for the wax bottle or the Mary Jane. It's for the experience. But I miss Jack. Have a lot of love for him. He's in the city now. He got a job at PJ McGlynn's near Madison Square Garden in Midtown. He got an apartment in Hoboken, and I just chatted with him or texted him the other day. But he's good. And now my hands are pretty full. But I'm actually having a lot of fun because Jack, Rhinebeck and Samuels and a lot of businesses kind of went through this evolution going into and coming out of COVID.
Right.
And we both just kind of fell into these roles where I would do these kind of more, or I should say, less fun managerial, minding the business things that weren't always in the public eye or downstairs on the sales floor. And Jack was always on the sales floor, always down there. So I'm spending a lot more time down there, and I'm having a lot of fun kind of getting back into it.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
But you also think like, oh, this person or that person could sort of fill Jack's shoes? Because I got to imagine that with all of his expertise and prowess as in front of the house, that it gave you a little bit more opportunity to take a few days off or to go to the candy convention or whatever.
Certainly, yes. Jack was a weekend warrior. Jack loved
Yeah.
working Friday, Saturday, and Sunday because they were the busiest days, and he liked that energy. He would get so excited about Santa Claus, right? Some people are like shell-shocked, like, "Oh my God, it's coming!"
Right.
Because it's nerve-wracking to be that busy for nonstop, right?
Right.
But yeah, sure, we're working it out. I have a great team of people, and we have several different people who are filling in those slots on the sales floor, and I'm down there more too.
Right. And do you ever get people, I know you're mostly hiring younger people who are like, I kind of feel like I might want to make this my business, make a career out of this?
What's funny is you sometimes you interview people and you think, oh, I can't hire or move forward with this person because they're overqualified. They used to, work at this prestigious organization in the city, or they have an Ivy League degree or whatever. And if that's the case, generally, they don't show up for the second interview or don't take the job. But some of my best people are actually people who are, arguably overqualified, brilliant people, but they want to feel good, just like the customer.
Right.
They enjoy just, tending to the baked goods and the coffee and the candy and having, that kind of shopkeeper proprietorial lifestyle.
Right. Feeling good and helping all your customers feel good too.
Yeah.
And guess what? We're just about out of time. So I'll ask one more question each. What candy or chocolate at Samuel's when you get just makes you feel good, like having it before you even ate it?
Always a sea salt caramel out of the chocolate case.
It just Allie?
Almond butter crunch.
So
I like nuts.
oh, it's so good. Well,
Obviously.
Samuel's Sweet Shop open till 9 tonight
Yes, indeed. Open till 9.
and open at 9:30 tomorrow morning. It's
7:30.
7:30. It's Valentine's Day tomorrow. So go tonight, go tomorrow, and buy up a lot of stuff, including flowers, now in stock at Samuel's Sweet Shop. Allie and John Traver, thank you so much for being here. It's been a treat.
Thank you, Norm.
We're all enriched by you sharing your stories. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.